Thank you so much, Mr. Raju and Naveen. Thank you for that introduction. Well, good afternoon to everybody, and thank you for being here for this session. I'm really grateful for your presence. So we are going to begin the session with, we're talking about manifestation, and manifestation is to attract into your life everything that you actually desire. And the law of attraction, which actually many people must have been introduced to by Rhonda Byrne in her book Secret, is one of the basic ways of attracting things into our life that most people actually know. However, many don't know that this law goes back to 391 BC, when Greek philosopher Plato noted that like tends towards like, and that's what the law of attraction also speaks about, that like attracts like. And the whole premise of manifestation is the way you think is the way you actually give out feelings and emotions, and based on that your vibrations are created, and those vibrations go out and create a life that you actually desire. So before I go into explaining the entire thing, and just to let you know that this is going to be an interactive session, so I would love to interact with all you young people here, and we will kind of have a good fun time. The second thing is that I'm just going to play an audio now. So I hope all of you can hear it, and I'll just share it with you. I'll just share my screen. So did you all hear the audio? If you can, I see Ginny smiling. Ginny, would you like to participate in this interaction?
Yes, sure.
Thank you so much, Ginny. So when you heard the audio, Ginny, did you feel something when the drums were beating?
Yes, my heart was throbbing.
Okay. And when you heard the woman cry or the baby laugh, was this something that happened to you?
First, it started sinking, and then later on, when I heard the baby laughing, I myself bursted out laughing.
Okay, thanks so much, Jenny. So did most of you feel that? If you did, you can just give me a thumbs up, and I will know that you actually were connecting with that. And the whole idea of making you listen to that is that everything around us has an impact on us. And these different things that have an impact on us, like she said, she felt some movement inside. She felt like smiling, or she felt a heaviness when she heard the woman cry. And all of these are the sense that your body is feeling and a vibration that you're giving out, and through this vibration, you begin to create things around you. Now, Albert Einstein says that everything is energy, and that is all there is to it. You have to match the frequency of a life that you desire, and there's no way that you cannot have it. So the whole idea is based on vibrations, it's based on frequency, and hence how we vibrate, the feelings that we kind of emote, they play a very important role in order to create a life. The whole journey of, if you've gone through the book Secret, or if you know anything about the law of attraction, it speaks about 3 steps, the way you kind of manifest in your life, which is ask, receive, and believe. And in order to ask for anything, you basically need to have a desire, right? So let's get to know, what do you actually desire in life? Gaurang, you want to participate in this?
Sure. So what I desire is, I love traveling. So I just want to travel the world, see different places, If I can do it with my friends and family together, it'll be even better. So that's the ultimate desire that I have.
Okay. What else do you desire? What else would you like to have in your life?
Uh, uh, okay, a few worldly things like find one of let's say a luxury car. I'm into cars, so yes, maybe one of
Okay.
those.
And anything more?
Mm, like I said, I love traveling and I love eating different foods. I'm a big foodie, so I would love to travel to different countries and just enjoy their food in their local restaurants over there and have a good time. That's what I want ultimately. Everything I do is for that.
Okay. So what do you do? So what are the other desires towards that?
So for that, I need to earn money so I have enough so that I can travel and do that. So if I'm doing a job, if I'm ambitious towards my career, it's because my ultimate goal is this, and whatever I'm doing for that is so that ultimately I should be able to do all that. I should be able to save
Okay.
enough so I can do that.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thanks, Gaurang. So the reason I'm asking is because the whole point of asking is that when we think of it, like even when Gaurang was thinking of, any of you might think, can you list down clearly 10 things that you would like to have in your life? If it is travel, where would you like to travel? Which is the first place that you'd probably like to go? If it is a car, which car do you desire? If it's money, what is the amount that you would like to have in your life? Now, the whole point is that in this whole process of asking, a lot of people I've come across, actually, most people I've come across have a hesitation. We feel reserved. Like even when Gaurang said that, worldly things, there's nothing wrong with worldly things. There's nothing wrong with wanting to own a car, which is luxurious, or having a luxurious life. But in our head, we somewhere kind of decide that these are not the things that you should actually be asking for. You should be only. But the truth is, to live a life that is contributing to you, that you truly enjoy, and you want to have, you have to first begin with being honest with yourself. That what is it that I truly desire? And once I'm aware what I truly desire, then I can probably work towards it. And as you go along the path, there will be things that will shift, they will change, but it has to begin with you at least acknowledging that you desire. So someone mentioned during the beginning, when I see a poster called Reborn, something they said. So from that's actually my book. That's my second book I had written. I've written another one, but in the second book, I've mentioned that it's not wrong to ask. It's wrong to pretend that you have no asks. We go into this whole zone of it's not right to ask, and we've kind of been taught that. So, so the first thing is to identify that what you desire. Now, if you observe children, if you I'm sure people over here will be having grandchildren and children and nieces or nephews, and if you really ever observe them, they come to you with no inhibitions. They're like, if they like to have something, they will just ask you for it. They're not going to think that, if daddy can give it or dad can afford it at this point of time, etc., etc. It's just an ask. Now, when we ask, there are a lot of limitations. We're like, is this the right time? Should I be spending that much money? Or how will it happen? Is it going to happen? There are a lot of conditionings, that are put into place. Now, that is one. But there are other very important, not important, but very stored beliefs that a lot of people have as far as asking is concerned. Like many people may think that asking somehow makes them less. If I ask this person, does that mean that I don't have enough? Or if I ask, does it mean that I don't know enough? This morning, my son was giving his exams online, and while he was giving his paper, he told me, Mama, just look into the instructions that have come, and am I supposed to write a question? I said, your teacher is online. Why don't you ask her? So from she was hesitant even to ask her a simple question like that, and we somewhere get preconditioned that it's not okay to ask, and we're afraid to ask. So we are not completely being honest with ourselves. So I told him that she's the best person to give you the right answer. Why don't you ask her? So he did. But the point is, we go into that. He probably didn't want to look small in front of his friends or look stupid. And these are all the things that come into each one of us heads. That if I ask, will it be a problem? If I ask, will I become small? If I ask, will it judge me? So, and that's where we reserve ourselves into asking. As children, many people are also taught that when you go to this person's house, don't ask for anything. Behave yourself, or etc. etc. All those things. We are constantly training our mind to have a fear towards asking. And what I would really ask you to do is to shed that fear. Now, is there a person who owes you money since a very long time and you've not been able to ask? What is the reservation there? Some people have that if I ask for the money, he'll think that I'm, being pushy, or I don't have enough money, or sometimes people feel that they can't even ask for their own money. That's one. Second is if you want to learn something on social media and we have to ask our children for it. Sometimes we're like, let's not ask and bother him. He has other things to do. So don't reject yourself before anybody else rejects you. That's what sometimes most of us do. We just say it's not going to happen, and therefore we've rejected the possibility of something happening before it even happening for us. So asking is a very, very essential part of the whole law of attraction. And the other problem is that we've been taught not to ask, but to always have the answers. Don't you know it? Should you not know it? This is something you've learned, etc., etc. So we've always been taught to have the answers. But I would say that answers sometimes create, and a lot of times create, limitations. Answers solidify the situation. Answers restrict it. And why do I say that? Let me explain a little more in detail. So I am going to, Meenakshi, would you like to participate in this?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Meenakshi, you are aware of experiments that are being conducted in a chemistry lab.
Sure.
You must be. Yeah. So when an experiment is conducted, can you recall any of the steps?
In what way? The steps meaning first
so there is an aim.
Yeah.
There's an aim.
Sure.
There's an apparatus.
Yeah.
Apparatus is that things you need. There is a procedure, means the steps you're supposed to follow.
Correct.
There's an observation based on that. And then there's a conclusion about what happened. After the conclusion, what comes?
After the conclusion, what comes, meaning?
Yeah. Is there any other step after the conclusion, or the experiment ends?
No, whatever you have done, there's an end result of it.
It's the end result of
Your
it.
fruit
So
of
therefore
actions.
nothing comes. Right. So it ends over there. Thanks, Meenakshi. Yeah. So that's what happens with a lot of us also. We have an aim. Okay. Our aim is where we probably like to get. Then we have an apparatus, which what are the things we require to get there. There's a procedure that we follow. For example, the different ways to get there. Now, after we follow the procedure, there's an observation we make that what is happening, what is working, what is not working. And based on that, we make a conclusion. We make a conclusion of what probably just happened and how things are going to pan out. Now, after that conclusion is made, nothing happens ahead, because that conclusion becomes an answer. And whenever there's an answer, the energy solidifies. Now, for a lot of people right now at this point of time, during the COVID, have gone into a conclusion about how things are going to pan out. They've decided that there are going to be pay cuts. They've decided that things have to be done only in a certain manner, or these businesses will work, these businesses may not work, etc., etc. And those are all answers. Those are all conclusions that one makes. And because you have that conclusion, the energy solidifies there. Nothing moves forward from there because you have decided. It's like you tell the universe, okay, this is it. And the universe listens to you and says, okay, if that's what you say. And therefore, asking a question is very important. Ask a question. Okay, so if I'm stuck here, what else is possible from here? What else is possible that I've not considered? What do I need to know here? Once you begin to tap into that energy of open-ended questions, where you're interjecting the thought process with a question which is going to give you a new direction, it begins to unfold in a new manner. But as long as you're stuck to your point of view, that this is the only way it functions, or this is the only way for it to get done, or there's nothing better, it stops. I'll give you another example. Most people will be knowing about, the Kodak cameras and everything that we had back in the days. And Kodak is one of the companies who failed later on because they were not willing to have something more, because they thought they had it right and it was perfect and there wasn't anything more. And that's what an answer creates, a conclusion. And then that conclusion becomes a part of the reality. And therefore, it is important to continue to ask what next, or what more is possible now. And that's how you kind of get out of it. Now, when you get into this, your vibrations go out into the universe and possibilities start to show up. Let me simplify this a little more with, how vibrations actually work and what is happening when you think that thought and when you desire and you say, okay, I would like to have this in my life. Okay, let's say you want a car. Okay, like someone said. And now, Naveen, would you like to participate in this?
Sure, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Naveen. So, Naveen, do you like to listen to music?
Yes, very much.
Have you listened to music on radio?
Yes, sometimes, yes.
Yeah. What channels do you normally listen to?
94.3.
94.3 and?
Radio Mirchi.
Radio Mirchi. I think that's 91.1, I think.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. No. Okay, whichever one. All right, if I got that wrong, I'm sorry. But nonetheless, if you're listening to music on 91.1 and you want to actually move to 94.3 and listen to music on that channel, what do?
You tune up to the different channel then. You move the...
Yeah, so you have to change your frequency, right? Yeah. Okay. But if I asked you, Naveen, don't change the channel. I want you to be on 91.1, but listen to the music that is playing on 94.3. Is that possible?
Difficult.
Difficult. If I begged you, is that possible?
I don't think so.
If I screamed and shouted at you, is that possible?
Not at all.
Not at all. Thanks, Naveen. So that's how vibrations also work. We are at one channel, like for example, and we want to be on the other channel, but we're not willing to change the frequency. So I am praying, I am asking for solutions outside, I'm asking people to do things, etc., etc. But I am not changing the frequency that I need to be in order to move to that channel. So if I'm not going to do that, things are not going to shift for me. I'll give you another example. For example, if you want to get a promotion at work, and there's a colleague who is competing for the same position, and you are being the energy of when you want a promotion, is I'd like to be recognized. I want to be recognized, I want to be promoted, I want to do well. And at the same time, you have this energy of being envious of the other person. And when you're envious of this person, you're like, I don't know if I'm good enough. So there are two different frequencies at work. One is that I would like to be recognized for my work. And the other one is, I'm not good enough. So when two mixed energies are kind of going out, you have two different frequencies. So with those two different frequencies, you're trying to get somewhere. And hence, that internal frequency needs to be changed, that envy has to go, so that you can begin to attract what you truly desire. So in order to have what you like in your life, you have to be on the same frequency as your desire. Now, many people, in the previous talks that I've had, they ask me, but how do I know what my frequency is? How do I know if I am vibrating at the right frequency? What's the way to know that? And I would like to say the simplest way to know that is that we have two basic emotions. Yeah, there are multiple emotions. We have like tons of them, but one makes us feel happy and the other one makes us feel sad. Whenever you find yourself going down, feeling sad, feeling bad, getting into those zones, that means you're moving away from what you actually desire in your life. The frequency are off. And when you're you are moving towards happiness, there's joy, there is all of that, then you are moving towards. So the way to check if you are aligned with what you would like to have, check when you think about it, are you feeling happy or are you feeling sad? Because if you're feeling sad, that means you're basically complaining, moving away and getting off track. And in order to be on track, train yourself to kind of get to that place of orienting a mind of gratitude and happiness. And that is very important in having whatever you actually desire in your life. Now, the truth is that we have a lot of emotions, and sometimes we find it difficult because we live in this world and we get impacted by various things that are kind of going on over there, and these various things impact us. These are called external stimuli, and so these external stimuli are there in every form. They are there in the forms of the movies that you watch, the music that you listen to, songs that you hear, the people that you interact with. These are all adding energies to you. Just like when you heard the audio when we began the session, it had an impact on you. It created some vibrations. So similarly, all these things that you interact with in your day-to-day life, they continue, and therefore your alignment actually moves either towards or away from what you actually desire. So it has to be a very conscious attempt and a conscious effort to take yourself from a place that you don't want to be to a place that you would like to be. Now, how do you do that? Well, if you are feeling sad, you can take a couple of deep breaths or meditate. If you are feeling off track, you can listen to music that will probably pep you up. However, many people like to just stay there. We don't choose to move out of that frequency, and that's why we kind of get stuck and keep stuck there. So it has to be an active, conscious choice made by you to move out of that frequency, because that is something nobody can do for you. And if you're not doing it yourself, then you cannot blame that things are not showing up for you, because you yourself are not really interested. So how important is for you to get that vacation, to get that house, to get that car? You have to start aligning with it, and your goal has to be very clear. Those are the external stimuli. Now, the second thing we have are internal stimuli, where we have stories that we kind of tell ourselves. Now, there is a problem that each one of us must be having, that we've been having for a very long time. It could be a health-related issue. It could be a relationship-related issue. It could be a work-related issue. It could be anything. But what is that one story that you have been telling yourself? Maybe about a particular person that probably comes to your mind, that he is like that. He is never going to change. Or my life is ruined because of this. Or whatever it is. Or the situation is never going to change. COVID is never going to go. God knows, whatever. So all those things is your story where you are stuck in, and you keep repeating to yourself. Now, the funny thing about this is that you think that you want a solution to it. So you go to various different people for looking for a solution, and you're genuine. It's not that it's fake. It's very genuine. It's a very real act where you go and say, okay, give me a solution to this. I've been looking for so many months and I've been trying this and I've been trying this, but it's just not happening, and you go to X, you go to Y, you go to Z, and that becomes your story, and then you get stuck in that. There are many different things, aspects that work over there. One of which is that you're constantly repeating the same problem over and over again. If you're repeating the same thing over and over again, you don't get a different solution. You basically need to do something different in order to get the solution. So even though you're looking for a different solution, the problem you're repeating, and the more you repeat something, the more it solidifies. It's like a wall. All the molecules are kind of together, and therefore you can see it. But this air that is around you, you can't see because the molecules are separated. So when you repeat and reinforce the negative stuff, it becomes your story and you'll stay there. And then that keeps on happening or going on in your head, and it doesn't change. And hence the way out is you have to begin with this process of stopping yourself to sell the story. Don't find a buyer. Don't find another person to tell this sob story to. When you stop selling it, you begin to introspect rather than trying to find the solution outside, and it's like this. Nilima, would you like to participate in this?
Yes, Aarti.
Thank you, Nilima. So, Nilima, have you ever gone to a doctor for maybe a headache or a stomach pain or anything?
Yes, several times.
All right. So when you visit the doctor, what generally happens? You generally tell him your symptoms, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So
I tell him, I have this problem. And Aarti, it's so wonderful listening to you because my doctor most of the time tells me it will get okay on its own. He doesn't prescribe a medicine,
That's nice. That's nice. And however, if he did write a prescription for you, okay, and you saw him sitting there and he wrote one prescription and a second and a third, and after he wrote the prescription, you're leaving, would you ask him for the prescriptions?
Yes.
Yeah. But what if he did not give you the prescription? What if he said that, leave it. One, I'm going to give it to your mother-in-law. One, I'll give it to your friend. One, I'll give it to your neighbor. And then the third to maybe your husband or whoever. And that will solve the problem. Will it solve the problem?
No, it won't. I will insist. I'll stand there and I'll pester him till the time he hands over not one, but all the prescriptions in my hand.
Yeah, thanks.
And I am so bad. Sometimes even after getting out of his chamber, I run inside and ask him 2-3 more questions.
All right. So that's interesting. But that is the thing what we actually do. What the doctors did and decided not to give you the prescriptions, but give everybody else the prescription. That is what we do in our life. We are sick, but we want our mother-in-law to get fine, or a child to get fine, or our wife to become okay, or whoever else. And we want them to take the prescription, and that in turn does not create anything. And therefore, we are trying to sell our story and finding a solution to it from outside. Now, when you stop selling your story, you have no choice but to introspect and see, okay, where is the problem and what do I really need to pay attention to? And once you begin to do that, then you are able to make the shift that is actually required for you to stop selling the story. And Nilima, because you brought this up, I would like to actually share a small incident, actually not an incident, a therapy that I had with one client. And she had come to me and she was constantly facing health issues, and she went from, anytime I spoke with her, she had something, she was actually a friend who became a client. She had something to complain about her health. And if she didn't have one problem, she had another problem the next month. And when we were doing session together, I was giving her a solution. And when I was giving her the solution, she disregarded anything I had to say and just went on with her problem. Her problem had become her illness, her desire to have the illness, had become a part of her life because that was the way she was keeping herself entertained. Now, when she realized that that was what she was actually doing in her life, and she did the same thing, stopped selling her story, and willing to kind of change it from within, shifts started to happen. So she created another problem thereafter, but that was different. But she stopped falling sick. You know, she did not fall sick after that. But the point is that you need to be willing to let go of your story and let go of that problem, and then it begins to actually shift and change for you. And and that's actually how it works. And that's how the vibrations go out, and then things come together, and we begin to have what we actually want. So it is a very subconscious and subtle thing, but our vibrations do go out in that manner, and then we start creating a life from there. So if you want to begin to change, I'm not talking just about relationships, but any aspect of your life, how much are you fooling around about it? What words are you using about it? Even in seriousness, what is the self-talk that you have towards that? If you are ill, do you constantly speak about illness? And if you are speaking about illness, have you got well by speaking about illness? No, you haven't. So how about speaking about health? You know, if you are somebody who is feeling lonely or upset, alone, has it worked by just continuously thinking about that? So it's all about what you're constantly giving your attention to. The law of attraction says, where attention goes, energy flows. So your energy will constantly and continually flow in the direction you're giving attention to. And the mind is the place it all begins. I'm going to briefly tell you on that, which is the way we need to create our lives is you begin with thought of what you would like to have in your life. And that thought is what you should continuously feed your subconscious mind. When you're constantly feeding the subconscious mind with that thought, you get an outcome or a desired result. However, most of us don't function like that. Most of us look at the environment. We take information from the environment. We decide that ye ho raha hai, wo ho raha hai, this person spoke to me, that person spoke to me, this happened, she didn't behave, she didn't call me today, that doesn't mean X, Y, Z. We get into those thoughts based on the environment. And then based on the environment, we create a thought. That's the cause. And we feed our subconscious with that thought continuously. And then we have an effect, which is actually not a desired effect. It is something we don't want. So we must begin from a place of trying to eliminate the environment and begin with thought alone of what we desire and make that thought and that imagination really large in our mind. That's how it actually begins to flow and create. Yeah. So Naveen will take on Q&A right now, as you suggested.
We can take the questions now, Aarti, if it's okay with you, or you would like to go further with it?
Whatever. Are there any questions anybody has? Because I've seen questions go into a lot of questions. So
please feel free to ask any question if anyone of you may have a question. Kindly unmute yourself. Vinodji, please.
or you can even put the questions in the chat box if you like to. I can read it from there. Okay.
Naveen, can I say something, please?
Yes, please go ahead, Ji. Please, Nilima Ji.
Okay, Aarti, mine is not a question, but mine is just a statement. I just wanted to say that I've been hearing all along that, you know, everything happens from within. I've been hearing people saying that everything is inside you and everything is inside you. And I've been wondering how can everything be inside me when everything around is affecting me all the time? But today, after listening to your talk, I think I've got an answer to that particular doubt or, dilemma in my mind as to what you have to do in order to generate that kind of, that manifestation from within you. So thank you so much. I'm really, grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So one of the things that I generally speak with parents about is it's not really the child, but it's generally the parents that need to work on themselves, and the reason being that one is from the perspective of vibrations. A child can pick up the smallest vibration, especially from the mother. This is very strange, but when my son was just about 10 months old, and I was having certain issues with my mother-in-law at that point of time, he did not like her coming to the house at all. I didn't say anything to him. He picked up my vibrations without me even saying a word. And I realized that the relationship with his grandmother is getting spoiled because of me, because of my vibrations. And I began to work at that. And once I changed it, he was more accepting of her. So in your case, what I would really recommend, and that's the other thing, that we think we need to take care of children. But I learn a lot from my son. Whenever he's not behaving in a certain manner, I always go back and ask myself, okay, what do I need to look at within me over here? What is he reflecting, about me that is kind of going on? So if there's a behavior that's out there that about him that's going on, I go back and check. And once I begin to change my vibration, it automatically changes. Now, in your case, you are worried about your younger one. That worry is a vibration that goes out of, I'm worried about you. I don't think you're doing fine. And that is something he vibrationally picks up. It's through energy. You don't have to say it. You say it, that's a different thing, but you don't even have to say it because he feels it. Children are the purest forms of picking up energies. They know when something is right, they know that something is wrong, and they know everything. And so are animals. And therefore, if you are upset, they'll pick it up. If you think that they're not good enough, they'll pick it up. If you anything you feel in your vibration, they begin to pick up. So what you really need to do is to grow into a space of knowing that he can handle himself. Just as capable as I am, he is. And they're probably much more, So once you start to give out that vibration to him, he will be able to kind of sort things out and take care of himself in whatever manner. Similarly, for your older one, if you've already decided, like we spoke about that experiment, the conclusion happens. So if you have already decided that he is going to behave in this manner, then, and he is going to bully his younger one, he will, So I am not saying that the change will happen immediately. It may not. But what I'm saying that once you begin to orient your thoughts differently, the shift begins to happen. So as far as money is concerned, it's very interesting because as most people will know that money can create a lot of confusion, and it tends to do that because we are so confused about money. We've been taught that way since childhood. Even when we were, you must have visited an aunt's house and an uncle's house and they wanted to give you a gift, and normally it's in the form of money and cash. Parents go like, no, you don't need to take it. You don't need to give it. We begin our learning process of receiving from there. And money is actually nothing more than this energy. And our receiving capacity has to be more. And when you're talking about asking for your own money, I'm going to make you do an exercise just in a little bit. But before that, I want to just add a little more light to this. When you are giving money to someone, first become very aware of the fact whether or not you're going to receive it. Because you always have that awareness. We just shut that awareness down. You know, so ask yourself that if I lend this person money, will I receive it? You know, so tune into that. How do you know? If it makes you feel lighter when you're giving it, give it. If it does not, don't give it. The second point is that sometimes after we have given money to somebody, and if you have given to several people, we stop creating more money in our life. I've seen people do that a lot. The reason being that we get stuck with the past money. You know, we think that that is the only source. We think that it has to come only from there. I have a right on it, etc., etc. And we get so stuck in that past thought and that past money that we stop looking at the future and creating for the future. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to receive that. Allow that to come, but don't stop your future creation because of that past. You know, so look forward and ask, what would it take for me to outcreate that money, outdo that money? That attachment to that past money or that past whatever sometimes does not allow you to move into your forward because you're so attached to the past. You know, so letting go is important. But when I'm saying letting go, I'm not saying forget and let go of the money, but I'm saying let go of that attachment and move forward to creating more. Okay, that's second. And the third is when you're lending money, especially to family, you know, always have the attitude of I'm lending it, but I don't have any point of view whether I'm going to receive it back or not. Because generally, when you lend money in a family, many times it happens that there's an unsettlement when you're not receiving it, and then relationships get bad. You know, so give it if you're giving it, knowing that you may not receive it ever again. So if you're giving it, it has to be like a gift. It doesn't have to be in the form of, you know, I have to get it back and then continuing to think about that. It's given, it's done. It's more like a gift that is gone. So that has to be the attitude when you're kind of giving money to people. Now, when you're lending it as a business, then tap into your awareness. And the fourth thing that I want to speak about this same aspect is, where have you made this other person who you need to receive money from more important than you? And all the decisions of, you know, the fantasies that you've created in your head that people will give it themselves, that money that you own them. Maybe you would, but is it okay that other people are not like you? So everywhere you've decided that everybody is like me and they're going to give it back because they've given it to me, are you willing to see that's a fallacy? It's not the truth. You know, and to have the courage to put yourself first and ask, can I have my money now, please? So why don't you practice saying this, maybe Naveen, right now itself, that just say, can I have my money now, please? And how does that make you feel? And don't say it in your head, say it out loud. Can I have my money now, please? You know, when you're using both your voice and your mind, it works better. So saying it in your head is still slightly simpler, but say it out loud. Can I have my money now, please? And how does it make you feel? And everywhere you've bought into the life that me asking for my money makes me money-minded, you know, and I'm not money-minded. Are you willing to give up that point of view? It's got nothing to do with you being money-minded, not money-minded. It's about you putting yourself first in your life. Are you willing to see that? Yeah, so it's got nothing to do with it. Money is just energy. Are you willing to receive it? And are you willing to be judged also? Because if you're not willing to be judged, we never get far off in life. Judgment is the way of the world. You were born with it. Before you were born, your parents were judging you whether you were going to be a girl or a boy. You know, so judgment is the way of the world. So just be okay with it, and that's how your receiving capacity will open. And if someone judges you when you're asking them for your own money, fine, be okay with it. You know, so and what you said about how do you get that center is an exercise that I would suggest is whenever you're feeling distorted or feeling that whatever, take a moment and just stop and pause and breathe. You know, we can maybe do it as the ending thing that we, whatever, is just take a moment and disconnect from all of this and just stop and pause and just take a deep breath. And now come back. There's a little more centeredness, a little less noise. Just with that, you don't even have to do half an hour, 1 hour of meditations, but if you just practice this many times during the day, of just stop, pause, breathe, and return, it helps to kind of shift a lot of stuff. Yeah. That's good, Naveen. All right.
Thank you, Aarti.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So one of the things, when I spoke to you about, you know, when my son was 10 months old and I had this issue with my mother-in-law and I was repeating a story in my head. The thing that I did was I replaced it with gratitude. Now, she did not do too many things. However, there was this one situation she helped me out. I took that one situation and I made that in my head larger than life. That one situation, that one thing that person has done for you that you're grateful for, just make that very big. Make that bigger than anything else. And then everything else just starts to fade in front of it. So you can just do that.
Okay, got it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And Naveen, you have to unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
My apologies. By the way, I've already started thinking positive. I'm going to add A and I to my last name now. And the reason for that is somebody made 90,000 crores an hour. So I'm going to think positively from now on. Okay. I have two questions on the chat. One is, why does loan sound and feel like a burden? Why does a loan sound?
Loan is like a burden because it does feel heavy because you're taking on something and you're already kind of you have this sense of having to return something, you know, and that does not belong to you, and therefore it feels like a burden at times. So now whether you're seeing it from the perspective of, and also it's got a lot to do with the point of views that you've been brought up with. Like, for example, people who have $1 million and, you know, Ambani's or whoever else, they take loans from the banks at all points of time and they have no reservations with it. They have no burden. But your belief system could be trained that you should not take money from anybody. You should never take a loan. And then that becomes a part of you and then it starts becoming a burden. So anything that you have been taught becomes that heaviness for you. If you've never been taught and you've told that it's always, you can go to the bank and take money and start your business from there. You can return it whenever. So what is that flexibility you have grown up with is how it actually works. And the second, how does one let go of thinking about health problems? Well, don't think about it, you know. It's easier said than done, I know. But we always have a choice in our head. And whenever you do get into that health problem and health zone, one of the things you can actually do is what we did right now, is stop, pause, and return. Allow your mind to replace that thought. Now, there are issues, obviously, that happen in the body that one might feel and sense. and there may be some intensity. But the other thing is to breathe through that. Communicate with that part of your body. Breathe through that problem. Breathe, when you're kind of just focusing on your breath, focus your breath on that part of the body and allow that to kind of change. Because the fact is that every 7 years, your body creates your new cells, and every day it creates millions of new cells. And therefore, your body can never be the same. There is no one problem that can permanently stay in your body. It's always changing. Your thoughts are the ones which constantly stay. And because they constantly stay, you constantly have that body issue. If you begin to change those thoughts, the body problem also changes. So it all orients in the mind.
Aarti, I would like to thank you for coming over to the Rotary Club of Bombay Hill South. Your words of wisdom and knowledge has really enlightened us, and especially me. I'm really grateful for letting me know how I have to take care of my boys. And the first and the last thing what I need to do is to look within and shift, and the changes just lie there. And I will make sure to keep changing my frequency, replacing my thoughts, my choice of words, everything that you said. I have made a note and I will do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Naveen.
Thank you, Aarti.
Thanks, Preeti. I don't know if she's here, but she connected you to me. Thanks.
Nilimaji, would you like to say anything before Aarti goes?
Naveen, I just want to thank you for making us a co-host for this wonderful session. I don't know, the moment you sort of took it out and said that this is a session I'm going to have, I said, I cannot miss this for anything in the world. I haven't heard Aarti before, but I knew that there was something, that would be great. And I would say that I haven't gone back disappointed at all. I know that everything that I thought of getting from this session, I have got. I want to thank you, Naveen, from the bottom of my heart. And Aarti, it was just too wonderful. I cannot tell you how empowered I'm feeling at this moment. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you.
I'll take your leave. Bye.
Bye.